This year, we are honoring the life and contributions of Joseph B. Williams. Entrepreneur, civil rights pioneer, and tireless supporter of education as the avenue to success, Mr. Williams is our first community giant, and we are proud to shine the spotlight on his lifelong commitment to enduring values and giving back.
I guess he's one of the most irascible people that you could probably find.
Basically, what you see is what you get.
I've always known him to be a very caring and giving person.
And he's really a very modest man. So modest until he's withdrawn.
I've never met a guy who didn't like Joe, who met Joe that didn't like Joe.
He has helped me innumerable times. When I needed advice, whatever help I needed, he was always there for me.
Well, there's some stuff I know about Joe that I just do not. He knows that I know, and that's enough. That's enough.
Joe was fairly transparent with the people he met. He wasn't a pretentious person that he hid big secrets about himself.
I'm not sure that I know anything very secret about Joe, but as I said, I think maybe they don't know he's a softie. And I do know that because I've seen him come to the aid of people and almost cry about some of the situations that have been going on in the society, even though he may have that scowl on his face when he starts out. But he's a hard taskmaster, and he expects people to do the right thing. So he doesn't have a whole lot of patience for people who screw up, as he would put it. So he's hard on people, but he's hard on them for the right reasons, I think, because he understands that you've got to be able to focus and function in a society which doesn't necessarily want you.
I started raising a question about the toilet paper in the San Francisco Federal Building. The next day I get a call from Josie, and Jesus, Horst, what are you doing here? All I'm getting calls about toilet paper. And I says, well, when's the last time you used it there, Joe? It ain't too good. And anyway, it worked out. They got softer TP in the federal building. So Joe is a guy who could always make things happen.
I just think he's a funny, gregarious, outgoing human being that, so with a story to tell every time you meet him.
If you drive him in your car and you pull up to a traffic light and you just look at a building and say, Joe, who used to be in that building? And he'll start to tell you. Not only who was in that building, 3 or 4 other buildings right there, and then which are the ones he had bought.
I'm the kind of person that, I have my way of going in terms of driving from point A to point B. But when you're with Joe, there's only one way. That's Joe's way.
But also, he has always been very resourceful, so he knows how to get you to do what he wants you to do without you feeling pressure. And I think that's the true mark of a leader, true mark of a giant.
Joe was one of the first inheritance tax appraisers in the state of California who was black. Alan Cranston, who was then the controller, appointed him.
It really took a commitment on his part to go through what he was going through, especially that long ago, and in an effort to protect himself and defend others, the best route to that was through law school.
I think he was pivotal in opening up many businesses in San Francisco to black people. I think he questioned the status quo. He made them more sensitive to the fact that they had a responsibility to black people.
He tried to make me rich, but I didn't have enough sense to really know what he was trying to do. He took me by a 20-story building out in the Fillmore district. He said, Dad, I think I'm going to buy this building. You want to joint venture me in this? Well, I was too chicken. I didn't buy it. I probably could be well off today if I had followed his advice.
So in 1959, my father had a business trip to California, San Francisco, and he brought me with him. And since he and Joe had been really close friends, they hooked up again, and he brought me to meet him. We met him at his law office, and he took us to City Hall. He walked right into the mayor's office, and everybody there knew him. We just walked in and we're meeting the mayor of San Francisco. Now, I was just blown away by this whole experience, and I said, wow, this is incredible. For an African-American man to just be able to go into City Hall, walk up and meet the mayor is pretty incredible. And I think it was at that moment that I decided I wanted to become a lawyer, just like Joe.
All four of us have arrived here in this city in the past 20 years. But just think, what would this city have been like for us if Joe had not been here before that?
I don't even want to think about that.
He opened a lot of doors. The unfortunate thing is most of the folks don't know what sacrifices were made by their predecessors for them to get where they are.
You know, if you see some African Americans working in a hotel, working in stores, working almost anywhere, we're not janitors, even being streetcar conductors. I mean, that's not the way it was. And Joe was one of the leaders that, you know, made this city change its color, so to speak. I mean, people had to get arrested in San Francisco so somebody could get a job. I mean, I don't think kids understand that at all. I don't even know if a lot of adults understand that anymore.
None of us could explain to those students the history of what it was like to be black in this city in the 40s and the 50s, like Joe. So Joe was an integral part of the program, not just writing a check. Right. He really was a part of going with us to see those students. And if you remember how those students just seemed to just get absorbed by his presentation, that was when it just became evident to us that, hey, you know, we really need to figure out a way to get this story out to even more so. And he really did throw the challenge down to us and said, what are you guys going to do about these boys who are in trouble?
He's never forgotten his roots. I think Joe came up at a time when it was very difficult. He wasn't wealthy in Philadelphia. He lived through the Depression. He understood exactly what poverty was and how frightening that could be and how difficult it is to get out of those circumstances. And so the one thing I think that he did consistently and that his legacy will always show, in no matter what forum he was in, he always fought for people who were less fortunate.
I don't know if Joe ever got his due, so maybe this is good. I mean, because Joe, you know, Joe's a guy who did a lot of stuff for a lot of people, and you know, he didn't walk around telling people how much he did.
But also his passion for education and black male youth was consistent with what we have been from the beginning.
He really wasn't excited about this prospect of this honoring business. And so there are some stories we could tell about trying to get him to even come to the event, period. But I think as we think in the future, what better person to have than him as our original or our beginning honoree?
Because, you know, one important thing one must do in life is to be able to accept love. You have to let people love you if they want to. If you've lived a life and they want to show their love by doing something like this for you, you have to let them do it. And I can assure you, I would not like to have been the person to have brought the idea to Joe at first, because I'm sure he resisted with all his might. But thank goodness he finally decided to let us show our love for him.
The struggle never ends, and Joe knows that, and therefore he's always looking at the next generation of people to come along, because we struggle and we win some and we lose some and we go back a couple of steps, and we need people in the society who just don't give up or just don't think of this as my success, but it's the success of the values and the goals that Joe has believed in for a long time.
Please join us in celebrating the many accomplishments of a true giant, Joseph B. Williams.